Countdown is on now. 8 days left for lawmakers to reach a deal on the debt ceiling. President Obama talking about the importance of getting serious about the national deficit. But do the president's words match with his leadership? Joining me now this morning is our Washington insiders, Katie Pavlich, news editor of Town Hall, and David Mercer, former Deputy National Finance Director for the DNC and political strategist. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Gretchen.
All right, so Katie, let me start with you, because up until recently, the president didn't seem to be that involved in the debt situation. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I think it was clear over the weekend that the president is more concerned with his re-election campaign than actually getting a deal done. At this point, we have run out of time. A short-term deal is the only thing that's going to get us through. And I think he needs to understand that August 2nd is not when this debt debate's going to end. We have a huge problem, $14.2 trillion in debt. And this issue isn't going to go away, and it shouldn't go away just because we have a deadline.
All right, David, I want to take you back in time to December 2010. We put together a little bit of a history chain here. So at that time, the Debt Commission, as you recall, called for $4 trillion in cuts. But the president did not necessarily take that advice. In January 2011, the debt was not mentioned until 35 minutes into the State of the Union address. So do you really believe that the president would have taken it upon himself to deal with this crisis right now had the House not become Republican?
Of course, Gretchen, come on. The Debt Commission was actually even proposed by Republicans who then walked away from it. And the president has taken the Debt Commission under advisement in trying to arrive at $4 trillion in cuts. They've gotten nearly at 2.8. They're looking at about 1.2 in revenue generation. You know, this president is not about pushing forward on gimmicks like we've seen in the House of Representatives with the majority of the GOP, but he's looking at both revenues and spending and putting our books in order.
Right. Well, the thing is, though, let me go back to Katie for a minute, because I want to show you then from February 2011, the president did propose cutting the deficit by $400 billion, but nobody voted for it. Not even Democrats.
Right.
Completely rejected by Congress. And then in April of 2011, the CBO chief says of the new plan, we don't estimate just on speeches. So that lends people to ask the question, is the president serious, actually, up until the last couple of weeks, in cutting the deficit?
No, the president is not serious. His budget that was rejected 97-0, it also added $9.5 trillion to the deficit over 10 years, and that's why no one voted for it. He hasn't taken any advice from his own bipartisan debt commission on entitlement reform, and all of the new plans coming out of the Senate Democrats, who still haven't passed a budget for over 800 days, don't touch entitlement reform, which is really going to solve this problem. The Obama administration is really good at creating a crisis and then using that as a way to get political points.
David?
The Obama administration has proposed and is one of the first leaders to put entitlements on the table along with revenue and spending. Secondly, we have to know that the Ryan budget, where they were opposed to debt ceiling increases, the Ryan budget, which they voted on, in fact, busted past the target of the debt ceiling that we're seeking to arrive at a consensus on even today. So, you know, the president is very serious, and it has to be on the revenue side as well as the spending side, as Ronald Reagan did almost 25 years ago.
Well, at the bottom of the screen, we had in big letters, who's right? So let's let our viewers decide that one. Katie and David, thanks for getting up so early for us.
Pleasure to be with you, Gretchen.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye-bye.